Hi guys, this is the Audiofool, and for today, we're going to review the KEF Q350 speakers. The KEF LS50 is a very popular speaker and for good reason. It's one of the best bookshelves and a stereophile A-lister, and it's also my reference speakers having great pinpoint imaging, but most of all, vocals are simply superb. So when they first came out with the KEF Q350, which has a 6.5-inch Uni-Q driver, I thought the LS50 must be being phased out. A few months later, I was able to compare it directly to the LS50. Some people say it has 80% of the sound of the LS50s, and they're correct. It's 80% LS50 and 20% bloat. But that was in a non-audio dedicated space, so we'll find out how it does in a treated room. But before that, let's take a closer look. Up front, you have the larger Uni-Q driver right smack in the middle, similar to the LS50s, but the sexy curves are gone and we have a common rectangular speaker shape instead. 87 dB sensitivity seems to be the norm these days, but it does come at an easy 8 ohm impedance. At the back, you have the port and a pair of binding posts. They seem to have the same vinyl veneer of the Elacs, so maybe they have the same supplier to cut down costs. So nothing really exciting going on, and while these are not ugly speakers, they're hardly a looker as well. First, we compare to the LS50s using the Shit Ragnarok and Yggdrasil. For this review, the ports of the Q350 was blocked using the bung supplied with it. I initially tried to use it without, and it was okay in some songs, but for most others, the bass was just too overwhelming for me. I think most people should actually block the port to give it more grip, but that's just my personal take since I really didn't read it in other reviews. And the blocking the ports definitely reduces the bass extension a lot, so you have to try it out and see which one suits you best. For trials of the pass by subtract, the Q350 almost does a third note completely and definitely does it lower than the LS50s. The first and second note, however, are a bit loose compared to the LS50s, and the LS50s has more forward vocals and the vocals are also more solid. For I've Got You Under My Skin by Frank Sinatra in a duet with Bono, the LS50s again has that more forward and more solid vocals and generally has that aggressive presentation. The Q350s on the other hand seem to hang back a little bit and has a more mellow disposition, and it also has a wider, deeper soundstage. The Q350s doesn't have that sparkle or brilliance of the LS50s, but it does well on its own using a more balanced approach. For Don't Know Why by Norah Jones, both speakers sound more alike in this song, but the LS50s just takes it up a notch by being clear, more detailed, and that forward vocal presentation. For Alicia Keys' If I Was Your Woman from the MTV Unplugged album, the LS50 shine with forward vocals and piano notes, and it also sounds a bit cleaner with more details popping out. The Q350 has better separation and has a wider, deeper soundstage though, but it's not enough to get ahead of the LS50s. For Pints of Rome by Respighi, the Q350 had a deeper, wider soundstage, and it was also a fun listen, but the LS50 was the more exciting speaker in this song and it had fuller, sharper notes. The Q350 wasn't half bad, but it wasn't also as good as the LS50s. So after going to my test tracks, it seems the Q350s aren't the LS50 killers I thought they would be, whether in terms of sound quality or looks. The LS50s aren't too far ahead, but I think the price difference is justified. The LS50s just kills it with better vocals and clarity. And then you have the matter of the bass extension, which is a little bit too much for me. It was fun at first, but it quickly became fatiguing, and hopefully you have DSP or tone controls to tame it down a bit. Or just use the supplied bungs, which I think should always be there. Should always be blocking the port, regardless of the size of your room, to tighten the grip a bit. But again, it still depends on your preference. But I'm still waiting for that LS60 with that 6.5-inch Uni-Q driver in the LS50 body. Next, we're gonna compare to the Klipsch RP-160M, which is another fun-sounding speaker near the price range of the Q350s. For trials of the pass by subtract, the Klipsch actually does it a little bit lower than the Q350, but the Q350s are actually a bit tighter. This is with the ports blocked, by the way. Vocals also get slightly more sibilant but more three-dimensional. For I've got you under my skin, the Q350s are a little bit more subtle, a little bit more delicate, and a lot cleaner sounding than the Klipsch. They have that relaxed pace, relaxed presentation, compared to the Klipsch, which have that aggressive stance. But it could be the preference of others because of that more forward sound. For don't know why, the Klipsch sound more alive and more three-dimensional than the KEFs, although it can get a little bit sibilant and honky in comparison. The KEFs, on the other hand, have an easier time uncovering details, and the instruments are easily separated as well. For Elac keys, the Klipsch sounds dirtier and can get sibilant, but it's a lot more fun and sounds more alive and kicking than the KEFs. For Pints of Rome, the Klipsch sound a bit too compressed to be able to compete with the Q350s, as the Q350s have more separation, cleanliness, and clarity. So here we have the fun versus the accuracy thing again, and it's really hard to choose because there's no right or wrong answer. It really again depends on your preference. If you just want to set the mood, go with the Klipsch. I think that's a better speaker for feelings. And if you care for the more finer things in life, go for the Q350s. Looks wise, I'd choose the Klipsch easily. And sound quality wise, if I didn't have the LS50s, I'd probably go with the Q350s because I lean towards analytical listening lately. But as an audiofool, I would probably shift back to the fun stuff again, and back again, and back again, because that's the game. Finally, we have the B6.2, my budget reference where I said you could skip the LS50s and save up for something higher. Am I going to eat my words? Well, the B6.2 won over the LS50s in trials of the past and Elac keys, both swayed by the bass of the B6.2s. And since the Q350 has bass, I completely chose it in all my test tracks. Both speakers go as low as each other more or less, but the Q350 is slightly more grippy as long as the port is blocked. The Q350 also offers a bit more insight, more clarity, and it has a slightly taller, deeper soundstage. But the Elac does have more forward vocals, especially for female vocalists. So the big question, is it worth spending more on the KEFs? Looks wise, I think not. It's not much better looking than the Elacs, and they probably have the same veneer supplier. Sound quality wise, well, the double you put in the KEFs go into a little bit more refinement in sound, and I think it will be worth it to some people. From what I've heard though, for me, I'm not really sure I'd spend that much more on for so little gain, especially since I'm gonna lose the vocal forwardness of female vocals. So yeah, maybe I'll still hang on to my B6.2s. What I like the most about the Q350s is that it's almost an LS50 for cheap. The LS50s are still better in refinement overall, but you do get more bass and more soundstage, which might actually be the better speaker for someone else. What I don't like about it is that it's not much better looking than the Elacs, and it just doesn't look like a $600 speaker. Oh wait, the Bowers and Wilkins 606 actually looks the same and doesn't look impressive as well, so maybe it does look like a $600 speaker. But I like the Klipsch better, so yeah, I don't like the looks. And another thing I don't like is the bloated bass. it just keeps me from enjoying the speakers, and good thing it comes with the bunks because otherwise I probably won't be able to review it. It's that bad, at least for me. But yeah, if you put in the bunks, it's actually quite decent, and yeah, it could be it's nice. And what I hate about it is that it just doesn't have the vocal prowess of the LS50s, and take that away and it doesn't really have anything to make it stand out from the competition. It does have aluminum tweeters and that pinpoint imaging, which makes it a bit better, but not really a lot to stand out. So at this price range, you have the Bowers and Wilkins 607, the Definitive Technology D9s, Dali Oberon 1s, Klipsch RP-160Ms, and so on. And it's I don't think there's something in here that would make me immediately recommend them, unlike the Klipsch, which I know would be a fun speaker for everyone. So yeah, I've been audibled. Good speaker, but it's not an LS60. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or suggestions, just write them down below. See you in the next video.